everyone, welcome to Stand-Up Analysis. We're going to be watching a stand-up set, analyzing what we did well, what maybe we didn't do so well, and the decisions we made along the way. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, my name's Jessica Phillips. I live in the UP, the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, Wisconsin's mullet, for those of you who are not familiar with it.
And hey, if you like this content, give us a like, comment, subscribe. If you like any of our comedy, our descriptions will be in the the description. So, any context you need to give about what the show is, what this audience is, what this set is, before we just dive into the footage itself?
Let's see. So it was a smaller crowd, and I was the host and the opener. So I run this material in different phases of shows, and it tends to do better when I'm not the host or the opener. So I wouldn't say it was my most favorite, but it is some new material that I would love to get some feedback on. And I can't trust the feedback from the audience when I'm hosting versus... You got it. Anyway.
Yeah. It's so hard because different audiences have different vibes versus the different nights, so it's hard to attribute something to the joke versus the audience versus I can get it. Great, let's go into the footage.
My name is Jessica Phillips. I have, 3 dogs, 2 kids, 1 husband, and a bird. I did share them in order of their importance to me. I'm kidding, the bird's my favorite. No, but I do. I have 9.
I mean, this. I can now tell the size of the audience from the laugh response. I really like that joke about I shared them in order of importance. That's such a great premise about I have what is it? It's
3 dogs, 2 kids, 1 husband, and a bird.
I love this list of things. If you wanted to, we could even go more half of a house. We still got the mortgage to pay off. One we could even go further into numbers. We could be so if anyone wants any of them, I'm willing to give up a dog or a husband. There's so much we could do with this idea. I love the counting. And do we bring that back at all? Because additionally, at any point past this in the stand-up set, we could be blah blah blah. By the way, we have 4 cars or whatever. Any sort of the game of naming the number of things that we do.
I mean, I bring up I talk a lot about my dogs, my kids, and my husband. The bird maybe makes another appearance. And so I had advice from a previous, something or another that was oh, I got all the way through your set and I didn't even know you had kids. And they were you should probably say that at the beginning. So I'm not oh, I didn't know she had kids. So I just threw it all in.
Sure. I like getting if our material is about to be all these things that we have that have relations to us, I like to getting it out of the way in the beginning and in a structured way that is a joke in and of itself. Yeah. I like this first joke. I like it. Also, if we wanted to, the bird is my favorite. We could qualify why about always excited to see me. Oh, and tweets less than my husband or whatever. If we want to do whatever. But whatever that justification is, as an audience member, oh, the bird's your favorite. Even more than her kids, if that was a statement in court, it would need evidence, and that tension is opportunity for comedy. But we don't resolve it, so we kind of bleed a little bit of honesty dollars because the audience I get what she's doing, but I don't really believe that she truly likes the bird more than her husband. And you get what I'm saying?
Yes, that's completely fair, and why I wanted to chat with you.
I only really harp on it because it's early in our set. The audience is getting to know us, versus if this was at the tail end of a set, we might have built up enough rapport where we could pay out those honesty dollars. I like to use the idea of honesty dollars, that we need them in the bank before we can withdraw them. So top of the set, we should be depositing more than withdrawing as far as jokes that stretch credulity, if that makes sense.
The other night, actually, they go, Mom, because there's 2 of them and they're batshit crazy. Mom. If you had to sacrifice one of us, who would it be? I was well, that's an easy one. I could never sacrifice either of them. I would sacrifice myself. To which the one goes, well, that makes sense because you've lived a really long life. So I pick her. She will be sacrificed.
We do this great, mom, to visualize the 2 kids together, but then we can't maintain it because we have to go back to comic mode. So I'm having to keep a lot of things. I'm having to juggle a lot of representations of things, one twin, the other twin, they're talking, we're in another room. Versus if we're mom, then I have the 2 in my head. So it's well, then you're so old. It's that one. Then I have a physical differentiation of oh, that one versus this one, instead of that one versus the other one that was on the other side of the room. The more we make the audience maximize this, the harder it is for them to understand the jokes versus here's one concept and here everything else you can see. You don't have to use the computational power. Then they can use their computational power to understand the joke and be resolved of it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I feel that when I say it, because I say that one and I'm oh, I realize that is so vague who that one is. So I feel that in it, and I appreciate that solution.
We could play in that game of two kids like yapping at us before we instead. You know what I'm saying is like that in itself could be a payoff instead of just a setup to the question that they're asking, if we want.
We pull up, we place the order, and I get to the young man who's working drive-through that evening, and I pay him, and then I realize that I don't have my phone.
We go to the drive-through. I realize I don't have my phone. Like that's. I mean, like we sort of use the young man later, but we could. So it's like right now. We'll see if my version cuts any important information out. But right now, all of that could just be like, I drove up, I don't have my phone. We'll see if I screwed something critical up. Let's keep going.
So
you didn't
know what to do with myself because what do you guys do in a drive-thru while you're waiting? Scroll Facebook, maybe Google how much is too much Taco Bell, or whatever's on your mind.
I love that. And like, what do you? So I think that I love the question. I love the going out to the audience with so we're in a story and then breaking it. What do you guys do on your phone? It's kind of a big question, and I feel like this audience is too shy to answer it. So we answered it ourselves, so we didn't fall into like the question traps. So I like that. We could be reacting to them like scroll Facebook, and if they're silent, like Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat. Like we could be reacting with their silence and trying to like pull things out of them. Maybe like where's the nearest McDonald's if you don't like Taco Bell. We could. But I like the instinct of using that moment in the story to break out and do the thing. I think we can maybe be playing with the audience a little bit more, even though this specific audience seems like they weren't giving you much. So I kind of like what we did in face of that. I don't know. Thoughts on your end with regards to this specific audience versus maybe other audience you've done this bit with, because you'll have more information than I do on piloting this joke.
Half of the audience was like the age of my grandma, who had seen his clean material on America's Got Talent. The other half was young and likes the more just as raunchy as you get from Kill Tony. And so it was a blend. Right up front was three grandmas. And then the younger people were kind of in the back. So the only faces I could really see or elicit information from were those three older ladies in the front.
And once again, easy to do after the fact. Easy for us to be like, well, that audience, you should have pulled an audible and done this joke. I did, but okay, noted. And it is funny. There's like three old ladies that are like, we never have our phones in the drive-through.
Right. Yes, exactly.
And so like they don't understand the bit at all. Yeah. So something for people that are watching at home. Smaller shows are much harder than bigger shows, because bigger shows you have the law of averages, and so you'll have a general population of bigger subsections, so your sample size is more likely to have someone that responds to your jokes if it's like a general populist joke, versus the smaller audiences, you get huge variance where all of a sudden you can have all grandmas, and so if you're not doing all grandma material, you will eat it. And so it's like it's not your fault, and so it's hard. Like we were saying in the beginning, it's hard to judge a joke in this iteration. If you're like, well, this is a really weird situational audience, do I scrap the joke based on their response? Like, no, at least in my opinion. What I found is a general rule of thumb on the spectrum of like a two-person audience, basically open mic, to like a big theater show. I usually, because my space is a cabaret space, which is like the 50 to 100 butter zone, that's usually where I try to dial people in. But for smaller shows, what I found has success is don't think about this as your stand-up show. Think about it as if your stand-up show is tomorrow and you're just telling friends about your stand-up show. So like, hey, I'm going to do this thing about like Taco Bell drive-thrus. Do we like fast food? We don't like fast food? Like you have to steer towards actually talking to them more and making it more personal, because otherwise it feels more performative very quickly just because of the general size of the room.
Mid-30s? Not a chance in hell, y'all. It's actually pretty close to my bedtime. I'm in bed by 10 because I'm gonna get up at least 3 times to pee. And when I do finally crawl out of bed in the morning, I feel like I've been in some sort of a physical altercation, like somewhere between a wrestling match and a gangbang.
Oh, you guys know what that is? You've been there before.
Like we could be. Me too.
Like the audience.
Mid-30s though, we do.
Oh, wait. So we build this gold mine. Like, I feel like I've been in physical altercation in between wrestling match and a gangbang, and then we don't specify what that feels like.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like I did this thing. It's not this. Well, then what is it? I'm not gonna tell you. Fuck that. It's like what? Wait, what? What? You were right there. The payoff is the. Anyways, I just want to point that out.
You guys. I'm a morning person.
Okay, great. Am I right there? Great, love it. Super tight, super right. Great, love it.
And I hate it so much. So much. It's not because of work or my kids. It's because one of my dogs wakes up between the hours of 4 and 6 a.m. every fucking morning. and they'll jump out of bed and whine just loud enough to give me a chance. And what they're saying is, you have 2.5 seconds to get out of the bed, or I'm going to pee right here, right now.
Oh, so I love the idea of this joke. I just think it's too many specifics. So if it was like a written comedic text, I'd be like, oh, this is a great, clever written text. But as a stand-up thing, our idea punchline, where we could be punching it the same idea with this many words, we're taking this many words. Like, I'm a morning person. I don't want to. It's my dogs. Take them on a walk or pee on the carpet. That's the decision in the morning. Like, I don't need to know the time. I don't need to know the one. We can get to that idea. And then once we've gotten the punchy version of it, we can do the more nuanced, specific version, because now the audience will be on the same page. Because we're saying, here's a piece of information, here's a piece of information, here's a piece of information. The audience is like, okay, I'm in information download mode, not in like, I'm in ready to like relieve this tension. Just anything to tie a bow around the process of us having just watched this together in your words.
If I'm being honest, I will probably scratch all of it. But it's a good thing because it means that when I write new material, I can write it with all of those concepts in mind, because I do know that I will go back with a lot of the same nuances if I try to change them. Yeah, no, I'm excited about it. I'm not upset to lose the material. I'm excited to have a fresh perspective when I write moving forward, and I go, okay, that's way too much information. Nobody needs all of that.
I love that. Hey, some people are like there's very different speeds. Some people write a lot, and so to throw away a whole set is like nothing. And other people write like 5 minutes every year, and so to throw away a whole set, I'm like, no, what a disastrous consequence. So you know where you are on that sort of like spectrum from one to the other. But great. I love that idea, and I love that we're sort of, a lot of people get a little bit too arrogant, and they're like, yeah, I can redo it, and I won't fall into old habits. And then they're like, why is this not working? So I love that we're like, you know, we all have human limitations, and sometimes it is better to just acknowledge them and work around them rather than trying to like brute force against your very own nature. So I like that. I think that's a great sort of like wrap up of things. If you are watching this far, give us a like, comment, subscribe. Both of our socials will be in the description if you want to see more comedy from either of us. Any words of parting for people who might be watching this after the fact?
Follow me on YouTube at comedian Jessica Phillips. That is my less detailed written material, and everything's under a minute because it's a lot of shorts of me just being me. So if you didn't like my material, you'll love my YouTube.